These people themselves are slaves. The Pope is a slave. Can you understand that? I mean, can we get around this concept that anyone who is in a position of a hierarchy like that is a slave to that which is above it? They may write all the beautiful poetry. They may dress in robes of silk, and they may surround themselves like dragons with millions and millions and millions of dollars, and with adoring legions of fans. But those people are empty, because the man who is strong, the true emperor, requires nothing, and least of all the submission of any human being. And there have been such people walking the earth. In fact, their motive is quite the opposite. It's to waken those people up. It's to stand back when those people try to lean on you and let them fall. Because I'd rather have a person fall and perish than I'd have them become dependent. The man who has lost his self is desensitized on a fundamental human level, and therefore the suffering of another has no meaning.
Yeah, that's right.
And this is immediately then what becomes... of course that person's going to say, well, I was just following orders, but I don't want to get any, the particulars need to be studied individually, of course. But in general, what we're talking about here is the loss of selfhood, which is already was traumatized from past traumas, and is still highly, and again, if there's going to be a true decline, I'm not saying there is or there isn't, but if in fact we do end up suffering in the next 7 years, in the countdown to 2012. If there is, in fact, radical negative changes, it is going to be because of this. It's not going to be because of chemtrails. It's not going to be because of, external things. Why are we looking to, physical chains, physical prisons, physical surveillance, physical drugs, dumbing down techniques, when they have already worked on a man so psychically that he's so insecure and he's so slave-like in his consciousness? What on earth do they need to go to the physical thing for, to put the gun to the head? David Icke calls it the sheepdog, the whistle and the sheep. And he's right. Man is already so policed. Man is already so policing himself. Man is already so under Orwellian control. He's so estranged from his own drives. He's so removed from his own body processes. He's already so addicted. He's already so medicated. Tell me what on earth, they need to go to this other length. You see, with tanks and guns and all sorts of the other things that they need. It's always a war on consciousness. So it's been a psychic dictatorship that's taken place. It's going to be smiling depressives. You're going to be in a happy nightmare. Right? You're going to love your chains. You're going to feel bad without it. You know how they say they let some prisoners go and they're dying to get back inside because they feel so,
Sure.
They go, I wish I was back in jail. This is driving me crazy, this reality. Man is afraid of reality. Man is not live. He's not vital. He's morbid. He's toxic. He doesn't have a clue about how to, detoxify himself, because the religions have been giving you light, 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 acquire, 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 reward, reward, reward. Of course you're going to become an economic slave. Of course you're not going to heed the Lord's Prayer. Of course you're going to live in excess when you believe that you're already so worthless that you have to work for a reward from somebody else. So you have to have a big economic system, and you have to have a big boss to give you the rewards. People are not going to work, Henrik, just to earn daily bread. They're going to work for many more psychological reasons than that. For the pat on the back, and it doesn't even have to be a physical one. It's the psychological idea, I work for the corporation. Praise the company. We profited this month. Sales are up. You did good. You're the best salesperson we've got on the team. We're going to give you a new car. We're going to give you a raise. You're getting promoted. Do you know how incredible people are dependent on that rubbish? It's not just because they need pay. It's because they're tied into the reward, the subtlety, the idea of, I've made it, my boss loves me. Well, I'm going to get promoted. I'm going to go through the glass ceiling.
Appreciation. I mean,
but see, you shouldn't be dependent on anything anybody else says, does, or thinks. If we want to, like I said in the, we were talking in the Future of Mankind DVD, enlightenment is when you are no longer affected by anything another person does, says, or thinks. Does. What somebody else does? Tell me when it is that what another person does in your family has never affected you. you're thrown into complete disarray by what other people are doing around you. You have no center whatsoever. You're totally embroiled in that person's life and them and yours. There's not an ounce or shred of individuality. That is exactly, then don't tell me, if that is your state, then do not tell me why beast is outside the door. Why leviathans exist outside your door. That person who went and got that job, did anybody force them?
Probably not.
Did anybody force, the people who ran Adolf Hitler to join up with him? People went and got those jobs out of choice.
Sure. Yeah.
Because that's what I'm talking about. In the hierarchy, if you lose yourself within the role in the uniform, you're nobody now. So that nobody has no conscience. And the conscienceless person who has no conscience can always say, well, it was them up the ladder. You see, and then they shift the blame all the way up. As we saw physically happening in the Pentagon crisis when they were trying to pass the buck to who was responsible for the Abu Ghraib atrocities. I knew right then nobody's ever it's going to keep going round and round and round because nobody is a self. Nobody has the guts to say it's my responsibility.
Sure.
What is happening is the systematic mind controlling, Orwellian system that makes you think that tomorrow you're going to be back on the breadline like it was in communist Russia. But remember, what we're forgetting is the communist system didn't work. It was overthrown eventually. And then so the forces of B know that.
Yeah.
So it's the old Huxley, Bertrand Russell type that's coming down. And people need to educate themselves on that. Doesn't mean that there's not physical traumas in the world. Of course there are. But those are also designed to send you a message subliminally to your consciousness. To make you so frightened, so insecure, that you will be going and say, please give me my overalls. I'm so traumatized, doctor, give me some medicine. Look at the rates of medication and pharmaceutical right now. We are also historically at a very important time in which the problems that we're facing are really challenges. They're really discoveries. We're going to discover about ourselves. Mankind may be going through this catabolic cycle in very much the way the seasons go through the winter cycle. We may be at a point in which we are going to learn, because we haven't learned it from free will, so nature is now going to teach us some of the most precious lessons. Well, we should be in happiness and expectation about that. In life, there's two realities. There's what is done, and there's the way that it is done, and also the why. So, most people have trained themselves to see the what that is going on. But most people need to further train themselves and understand why a thing happens, the motive, in other words, the motive, and also the way in which it is done. The way in which it is done. So, if George Bush or Blair or anybody saying what we want is social order and peace and harmony, no more battles and fights, that sounds good. That's the what. That sounds lovely on paper. That looks great. No more war. I'm all for it. And so what we've got to understand is that the mass of people who go, yeah, and vote the guy in are voting for the what. But if only those people were more savvy to say, yeah, but what's about the way? You can't throw the baby out with the bathwater. You can't cut the limb of the tree on which you're sitting and call it sanity. And so I say that when people if they really do concertedly, nobody's forcing anybody to go to work, nobody's forcing people to buy certain products, nobody's forcing anyone to, go to these corporations and work for them and champion them. And if anyone stood up, whether it was to not pay taxes for a while or not to, get the petrol for a while, if they really concertedly did it, people have no understanding of their own power. I've got quotes from the boys, the top of the establishment, telling you that we've got to prevent people getting together. Because they're lethal. If those people should ever, have one brain, one mind, and come together in any way. The reason why there's no change in the world is not because some dark, evil force is working on you, as much as nobody has any coherence anymore. Everybody's factions. Look at how many factions exist and fragments in society today. Not only the basic ones, but so many more. Nobody can agree to get one thing done. The only thing that you can do that has any true and fundamental power, staying power, lasting power, any true metaphysical, spiritual meaning, is to change yourself and your own thinking patterns. That's it. Bottom line.